We're going to go ahead and get started as quickly as we can so we can stay on time with Podscott. This is absolutely going to be one of the easiest introductions I'm going to get to make today because this man needs no introduction at this point in time. Am I right about that? I saw Brad for the first time at Podscott last year. He happened to be presenting in the room that I was hosting, and I remember going to Glenn and saying, I know who we need to have for our keynote next year, and certainly he didn't disappoint us with that, so we're really glad to have you here today. So, if you're here in the session to hear Brad Flickinger share with you the underground workshop, gamification, and the EdTech, then you are in the right place. And I'm going to, without further ado, just turn it over to you, Brad, and take it away.
All right, so...
Brad, you know, there's one thing I did want to announce to folks, and that is because we are really concerned about bandwidth challenges, if you could make sure that your cell phone is not accessing the network here, but actually going out, if you have the ability to go out to your cell phone provider, that would probably help everybody have a better quality experience. So thank you for that.
In other words, turn Wi-Fi off.
Thank you. Yes.
It's funny, we all have so many devices now. We've tripled the need for Wi-Fi. We come in here with our laptops that take the Wi-Fi, our iPads that take Wi-Fi, our cell phones are on Wi-Fi, and it just inundates everything. So as I kind of did a little shameless self-promotion in the other room, we want to be able to have a workshop today about the gamification of education here. And it just intrigues me as why I want to do this workshop. And this is going to be an open discussion. I have a lot of questions that I still need answers, and I kind of hit a wall because a lot of people don't get what I'm talking about in my own district and things like that. And of course, with administration and my wife being one of them, you talk about gamification, it makes them all very nervous. They have misunderstood gamification to think that somehow you want to make something juvenile, or you want to make it silly, or too fun, and those type of things. And that's, I think, the mistake that some people are, and that's why we called it an underground workshop. Leaving this today, you might not want to go back and tell, well, what did you learn at Podstock? Well, I learned we're going to bring gamification into everything, and they'll be like, we're never paying for you to go again. Sometimes they don't really want to know much more about it. So I did this little prototyping or beta testing on the down low. I just told my principal that I'm meeting with students every Monday during their lunch break, and we got together and just throw out ideas. Now, the one thing about fifth graders are, and I wrote a critical piece of Sir Ken Robertson over at ISTE, and I got a lot of flack for it. Well, I've got a lot of pros and cons for it. But Sir Ken's idea, and I agree with most of what he says, but he was really like, oh, we're beating the creativity out of these poor children. Well, I gotta tell you, I show up with this thing all wired up, I've just read Ken's book and everything, and I tell the kids, this is what I want to do, and I get things like silly answers from fifth graders, just like, well, we want something with crickets, or something. I forget what the word was. It was like muskrats or something. And everybody laughed in the room, because I guess this kid's been bringing it up at every chance he gets in the room. So, and I'm like, no, this is the blank slate that Sir Ken promised that it would be great. What should we do? And I got nothing from them. And that's when I realized you still need to give them a scaffolding of things. You need to kind of still get them in the right direction of where to go with things. And so I kind of mentioned the idea of a reward program for that, and I'll just show you some of the photos from that, and then we'll begin our discussion here. So here's Kevin, and he's one of my younger students. I tried it with young third graders. You guys are all wondering what's on the screen now, aren't you? Yeah. Could have picked a different chair. We're good for in here, but not so good for there. Yeah, okay, so here's Kevin, and he's got his collaborative button, and he's also got a podcasting button there. He's worked on it, it's on his backpack. Here's our little girl Katie, and she's earned her, just earned it just then, her digital artistry one, where she was able to demonstrate her skills. And here's a student showing off their digital music making, digital artistry, and digital photography buttons. And then you saw that other photo, but here's the close-up of it in the other room. She's got the highly prized director's badge. And then you can see there's the shot I used in the other session. There's Justin Bieber again. And there's the close-up of his. So he's been in digital filmmaking, video game design, collaboration. When it's collaboration, it means he's collaborated with a student like, digitally, like something outside of our state, using ePals or something like that. So he's collaborated with somebody. And then he's got one on, we didn't know how to kind of do it, but on the production side of things, like with our web show that we do and stuff like that. So he knows how to do that. And there's my little stage photo that I got these girls to do. And you can see from her buttons there that she's got.
Did you buy a button maker?
I do own a button maker, yeah. Yeah, I have a button maker. So because I didn't know another way. So that's my first question. Is there another way for a physical representation of a child's digital skills? Anybody got any other ideas that they can try in their schools or
I did like an iPad Ninja thing, and so when the kids came in, we were using them, and so I just used ribbon, and they had to go through each colored belt, and each belt had a specific thing that they had to earn. And so like white belt was just the basic skills, and then they had to do like a different level, and then each level, one was productivity, one was, you know, creativity, filmmaking, whatever, and then they would earn a colored belt for passing off certain tasks, and then they would earn a belt, which was just like the ribbon that they carried those big necklaces out of them, like, and then I could see, okay, and then anybody who had this color belt had these privileges or something, so that's just kind of.
Well, and I think somehow it's gonna work for middle school too, because, I don't know about high school, but it will work for middle school, because last year I did attendance stickers. I had a poster up on the wall and I did stickers for their attendance. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. Middle school kids loved having their stickers up on the wall, and those kids that weren't coming are now starting to come to put a star or a smiley face on the wall. And then if I got them to put the sticker up on the day they were there and they had been gone for 2 days, it was like, she let me put everybody's sticker. I couldn't believe it.
we're this is really
So
it's
it could be
turning the
something
tables
like
on
that
Yeah.
too for middle school, maybe not that they carry with them, but that you post in your room. I did not think they would like that, but they loved it.
They seem to love this. I've had the ideas for middle school, because my wife's a middle school principal before she became an administrator. And at the district level, she was a principal, and with a lot of schools going one-to-one, she thought about the tattoos, the stickers for the laptops and stuff. Smaller ones, so as you earn it, see, then it would be all over the back of your laptop, all the different buttons that you had, so when you carry that around and stuff, you're still flashing to everybody. And that would work for middle school and high school. We thought that might be a good idea. And as they've done here at EdTech, they've made them as removable stickers, so IT doesn't freak out, like, just put what on these? They work out really good. And there's some studies behind the fact that you've got to personalize your devices, and the students really like that, as well as it gives ownership to the device. They don't feel so inclined to trash the device. They've got things on it, they've got investments into it. But let's talk a little bit about, there's a risk that we run here of alienating the students that don't have these skills. How do we do that? Because we would never want to do this with writing. We would never want to say, you can write, but you can't. You know, we don't want that physical. But do we still have that thing, is tech skills still under that same guise? Do we have to worry about that or not? That's another wall I've hit that some people have criticized me on. What happens to the student that doesn't have this type of tech skills? Yes?
Well, and part of it too is looking at it as an end result as opposed to a progression. One of the things about badges, if you're recognizing those micro steps along a path, a standard is going to mean nothing to a student. But if you can recognize that they're developing those skills and you're providing them with that recognition, some of your reluctant learners are going to earn that one, they're going to want to work towards that second, and maybe they're looking for that peak. But you recognize the micro steps and the successes that they do have so that they're not feeling left out of that loop.
Yeah, there's got to be something there that you can, because like I said, you've got to give them some type of success. If it's too far down the tunnel, they don't even start. And I really run in that risk sometimes with movie making, because movie making can be scanned over weeks. And sometimes with my young students, they're just like, oh, it's just going to be too long. But now, I guess I've made enough movies that they know the payouts can be great. It's all you first-timers out there that are going to have to do a lot to try to convince them that, oh, really, we can do this for 6 weeks and we'll be okay. Yes?
But it's also meaningful if everybody doesn't have one.
Right.
If everybody
That's
has one,
exactly right.
if everybody has
Gold
one,
star for everyone.
then A, it's not real, and B, it's not the incentive for them to work towards something.
I think we're moving past that, you know, we went through that phase in education where, oh, we have to make every kid feel great. And we're finally starting to move past that and realize that that just really doesn't work.
They see through it, they see it as fake,
Yeah.
they see it as not authentic. Yeah, I agree, but there's gotta be something there. In my ideas from my prototyping this last year, we decided that we wanted 3 levels to it. And if you want to write these down, it'll help me to recall these. The first level is that of a novice. And we didn't want it to sound very great either. It's a novice. And all that's going to happen at a novice level is you're going to do a step-by-step project. Every step is laid out for you. But what we realized when we were trying this out is that you can't throw them in. You can't do a Sir Ken Robinson on there and just say, here, creative child, make me a movie, because you will get garbage. The flip camera, look at this, Mr. Flick. You know, it's making all of our viewers emotions. So the novice has no reward to it. It is just an introductory, and this is the curiosity phase that I talked about. This is just, maybe you didn't even know you want to be an animator until you do the novice stage, and you want to maybe try that. So it's just step by step. We see this a lot with tutorials. It's like, oh, crud, I just signed up for Edmodo. I have no idea how to use Edmodo, so I can't do it. So they just say something funny. Okay, it's like they're laughing at me, and I don't know what it's all about. So you do the step by step, and then suddenly, oh, now I know how to set up a class. Not a lot of thinking's involved because you're still learning the skills. Because you can't make great things until you have the skills to back it. And I also say, with you and the belts, or the ribbons that were like, see, with that worries me because it's progressive, like you have to have one to get the other one.
Yeah.
And my idea was that it was like a buffet table. And as Daniel Pink said in Drive, one of the great things that can make a person want to do more is that the ability to choose for themselves. But this one I want all kids, but I do want all kids to at least complete novice levels of everything. Because you don't know, like I said, that you're great at it unless you try it. You don't have that interest.
How many categories do you have?
I was gonna say, did you label that out already? All your categories?
You missed it, yeah, I did that right. I got it, yeah, I'll show you.
Brad, what about beads?
Beads I'm interested in.
Beads are cheap, I just don't know if you can get them.
And it's,
Customize or personalized voice picture.
yeah,
Cub Scouts with yellow on that. Yeah, orange and land.
Then my students like to do that kind of thing. I still say the button because this to me is the representation to badges that you can get.
and as they get older, when they get a Facebook, they will have buttons that can match that, yeah. Let me open up my,
Is it very expensive?
well, that's what I'm thinking. If we get this figured out as a group, and I think there's something to that, maybe that's how we do things. Like anything in production, if you order 10 of them, you're going to pay $1 a piece. If you order 1,000 of them, you're going to pay, a penny a piece for them and things like that. So I don't know, but I have a button maker, so I can make buttons. But I'm not saying everybody has to go home and buy a button maker. But it's still just in the experimental phase. That's why we're having this workshop. Let's go into.
I got 4.
Those are 1-inch buttons.
If you're gonna make more than
Yeah, let me get some out of my bag here. And when I was at ISTE, I started to grab everybody's buttons. So this is a very big button from Comic Life. I think it's too big to be able to put on backpacks. To be able to get enough. I think this is probably 1.5 inches. I like that size. And then, as Kevin inspired me last year, it was these 1-inch buttons. And so there's the podcasting one, just the old-fashioned microphone on it. So I will.
Nice size, if you have like a lanyard, like some students.
They could even go on a lanyard. Yeah, I saw them on. My wife just got a Mini Cooper car. Wanted one forever, yes. Well, you guys are like cheering, laughing at me. Everything I say is just, no, that's good. No. And she's now joined that cult. I didn't know it was a cult. Okay, so you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, second one.
So they've just had the drive across the states one, and so they had their lanyard that takes the states, and they had these pinned on the lanyard. That's what I was thinking about. They could work on a lanyard as well. If your school is into lanyard, my school doesn't use lanyards, so but the backpacks are going to work. I'm going to put a few of these on each table, so you can kind of take a look at what they are. But I think I have 13 categories, and it kind of grows and goes away. The reason I like the button maker is that you don't have to make. If things change, then you can just easily go into something else. Make some new buttons. So these are just my random notes that I've taken on it, so if you see things that are personal. Okay, so there are my badges that I have. These first ones here I've really fought a lot with because my son is 17 years old and he's working on his Eagle Scout right now. And so I've worked all those years of getting all those badges, and I think we'll have to move them around once we get going. And what I liked about the scouting program is they have required and they have electives. And I like that idea, because if I send these little elementary kids off to middle school and they don't know how to use Microsoft Word, they're going to call me from that middle school. Like, great, Brad, you've given us filmmakers, but they know jack about Microsoft Word. It's what we use all the time at middle school. So, and they don't teach keyboarding in my district at any of the higher grades. It stops at 5th grade, and then that's it. That's all the keyboarding you get. So these are the required for my school. You have to be proficient in keyboarding, and it's about 35 words a minute by the time you get out of 5th grade. You've got to know basic word processing. You've got to know presentation. You've got to know spreadsheets. You've got to know how to do email. You better know a lot about online safety, and you better have some basic tech skills, online research, file management. I think that's where the cutoff is right there. Those are the things you better know how to do. How to save it to a thumb drive, how to save it to the server, how to do this, how to do it. If they go into middle school and they don't know any of these basic things, I've done them a disservice. I've taught them how to be bloggers, but I've not taught them this. I've done them a disservice, okay? So those are the things. Now, with my son in scouting, you've got to get the electives done before you got to get the requireds done before you can get the electives done. So every level of scouting, whether it's a life scout or the different ones, the star and those type of things, you've got to do so many requireds and so many electives. You guys are like, he's not a scout dad, he doesn't even know how to say these things.
No, it's a joke. My son is actually blogging his scouting journey.
Oh, there you go.
Journeythroughscouting.com, shameless self-promotion. But you're right. You know, I was just thinking that they're the white-rimmed merit badges that you got to get those kids to teach. You know.
Yeah, none of this is new. I've stolen all these ideas. But what they've proven in scouting is it's motivating, right? The kids do it. They'll sit there for weeks working on their personal finance merit badge and all these things. And so I think every level of school, elementary, middle, and high, should have some type of required. Those things that we need to have to do that. And I don't think there should be a badge for that. That's like the reading or the writing or the this and that. I don't think that's badge worthy. Everyone has got to do it. But how I'm planning on using it next year is that those students, I'll be able to say, no, you can't go work on web design yet. You've not progressed enough. I don't know how that's going to work throughout the year, because I want them still to be able to do some of these other things throughout the year and not just have April and May fill up with all the fun things as they perceive it, right? I want to, so maybe we do, because I see my kids once a week, so maybe 3 weeks of the month you're having to do required until those are done. And then on the 4th time you can come in and start working on any one of these choices that you want to make. It's up to them. They want to decide what they want to do. And so that's kind of the idea.
Do we have criteria for each one of these?
Yeah.
A rubric?
This is beta, people.
Okay, so you have your novice, what's the other 2 levels?
Yeah, but you-
Oh, yeah.
Or do you have ranks? You know. So where's your tenderfoot in here? You know.
Maybe that's how it's figured out.
Be like Pokemon, yeah.
But we got the Girl Scouts too. We got to cover the Girl Scouts.
I tell you, we figured
Before
this
you
thing
get
out.
complicated,
It's
though.
going to be, yeah, well you can see under my questions, one of them is how on earth do we manage all these? How are they managed? Okay, so here they are. Okay, so we have novice.
Venture Crew. Venture Crew does boys and girls.
Yeah. Show me how to do that. I'm just a tech teacher. I'm new to everything. Okay, so novice, they just get a mark in the grade book. So I have a grade book for all those things, keyboarding, online safety, those type of things. Everybody's got to do it. That's where I peek into their curiosity. It serves as an introduction. It follows a step-by-step where they make a project. Apprentice is the next level. Apprentice. And this one, I want them to get a badge, but I want it not to be very good looking. So it'll be basically a black and white badge. I'm thinking probably white with just a black logo on it. So not like the badges you see floating around these tables. These are colored ones. I don't think I want that. I want it so it's very easy that you can see on the backpacks. I want them very distinguishable, that you can say, oh, this student's working towards these things, but not there yet. So if you're an apprentice, you're doing kind of, now this time it's a fill in the blank. So now we are starting to get into Sir Ken's realm here a little bit. So let's say we're doing podcasting. So the novice level is, it gives you everything. Here's the script, here's how to use Audacity, here's how to plug the microphone in, here's everything, read the script in, make these adjustments to your voice, make sure your voice levels are good, boom. You know, it's some little thing, volcanologists study volcanoes, blah, blah, blah. Something like that. The script is already made. But for the apprentice level, now it's like, here are a few more skills. Here's maybe to do these kind of effects in Audacity for podcasting. Here's access now maybe to the studio. So now they've maybe departed from using just a little Walmart microphone for $8 to now being access to our podcasting studio. And now they can make a podcast about maybe a set of given subjects. So now they're choosing from a list, or they're filling in the blank on these type of things. So now it's much more, it's still structured, but it has a little bit of choice in there. And then the last one is the mentor level. I'm still chewing on that name. I don't know. I kind of like it, kind of don't like it. But the mentor then can involve novices and apprentices in their project, and they actually choose what they want to do it on. So now they've earned their apprentice badge, and now they want to do the next one. And now they're meeting with their teacher, and they're like, well, you know, I really want to earn my podcasting mentor badge, and I really like to be able to do that report on 13 colonies. I want to do it as a podcast. So they're actually meeting with their teacher, and the teacher's like, you want to do what? Well, I want to do a podcast, and these are the kind of ideas I have for it, and this is kind of the things I want to do. So they want to do it, and hopefully it'll be done outside of school. It'll be research-based. Like I said, it involves the novice and apprentice students, and it's a group project because I want collaboration, and I want them to be able to start to find their own skills. So maybe that's how they do it. You know, when we get, you got to help me out with this scouting stuff now that I know you're in the ground. So normally we fill out a form, right?
A blue card.
A blue card, thank you. The worst scouting parent in the world. Blue card, I have good scoutmasters. When we talk about crazed, I have one of those crazy scoutmasters. I mean, he goes camping every month with my kids, you know. Every month he goes out. And in Colorado, there are some bad months to go out. So, because you got to fill out a blue card. So imagine it would be the same thing here. They fill this out saying, this is people I collaborated with, here are some novices and some apprentices that I worked with, here's what I did, here's all the things. And
we were just discussing using the EDGE method to teach younger students how to use the, you know, because the scouts have the EDGE method that they do to
do this.
Yes.
Do we elaborate on that for us?
So,
Are you making this stuff up?
no. It has to do with demonstrating that they can do the skill, they can then demonstrate the skill, and then they can teach the skill to someone else.
I think that's what I was getting at, because I
Yes,
think
right.
we know from Bloom's taxonomy, they become the greatest learners when they are the teachers. And part of that last line where it says students expand skill by finding their own, I don't want to give them everything. I mean, if they want to know, well, I want to know how to do slow motion in iMovie, well, find it then. How do you go do that? Don't bug me about it. I got to shop online or something.
Explain, demonstrate, guide, enable.
That's what it stands for?
Yeah, explain, demonstrate, guide, enable.
Perfect. Let's steal it.
Well, if you Google Boy Scouts EDGE method, and it'll come up.
So we're not reinventing the wheel.
That's Kevin. Kevin talks about that all the time. Steal stuff.
Say it again, Jay.
Say it again.
I'm sorry, what?
Can you say it again? Explain.
Explain, demonstrate, guide, enable. First, explain what you're going to do. Show them demonstrate the skill that you're going to show them. Let them practice the skill or guide them through practicing the skill, and then enable them by letting them do the skill themselves without any intervention.
That's how they would assess, the mentors would assess on their ability to learn that, because they've shown you that they can lead somebody else through that process. And that's the part of the assessment of those batches.
Okay, so
A certain amount of.
here are some questions. My district, and this is being recorded, right? Okay. I'll word this very nice. My wife is the district person in charge of technology, director of technology for a district of 26,000 students. So you can imagine our dinner conversations. I represent the classroom, she represents the district. But anyhow, love you, honey. And this, we've gone with netbooks, one-to-one in grades 5, 4, and 3, and they're being rolled out 1 year at a time. I swear we're the last people on earth to buy netbooks, because a lot of companies have stopped making them. What? Do you agree?
I'm so sorry.
I know. Can't help that. So anyhow, that's why I have the question, is where do netbooks fit in? Because now I've got all these 5th graders, and this year I'll have all 4th graders as well, running around with netbooks. So how can I use this program with them? It's got to be something that works well on netbooks. And netbooks can do some things great and not great on other things. And then I got iOS. That's the first question. Can these be based on iOS? And then I think the third thing is, can this all be done hardware, software, agnostic? don't know. I mean, I think to do step one, the novice level, everything's got to be step by step, which means it's got to say, if you're going to work on an iPad, you're making a podcast, and you've got to do this, this, and this step. But if you're on a netbook, you got to do this, this, and that. And so that becomes a real nightmare to try to figure out all those steps. But I think it's possible to be done. There's enough of us in the room that we could possibly take that on. Does anybody have any ideas or help with that?
Well, what is it that you're exactly trying to get at when you're talking about the hardware, software agnostic? Are you talking about the badges, or are you talking about
Yeah, so let's say it's the
recognition?
podcasting badge. Is there a way you can do it that doesn't mean you have to go to this, PC or Mac or XP or Windows 7 or?
It's not about the technology, it's about the end product. So why does it have to be a specific hardware?
Well, I think on the highest
For
level.
you, it might need to be because this is what you have.
Yeah.
But the ultimate goal is what is created at the end, no matter which level it is at. Okay, so novice, you're gonna have to determine what product, or not, what hardware you're gonna use because you're gonna make directions for them. But when they get farther down, they can choose.
Well, and
They
that's,
might
I want to
choose
start
the
using that.
same thing they started with, but they might choose something else.
With the idea of bring your own technology, I think that would be great then, because they've decided, well, for my apprentice level of podcasting, I'm going to use my whatever tablet that they have at home that they have access to, and they like a podcasting app that they got, so that's great, yeah.
If you have multiple devices, maybe, the novices, that they create something on both devices, that they create a basic level on an iOS and a basic level on a PC. And yes, you've got to create two sets of step-by-steps, but you're going to have to do that anyways.
That's what I'm thinking, there's just no way around.
Yeah, and they should be able to see both so that down the road, when they have choice, they choose, okay, now, is what you want to do going to work easier iOS or easier PC?
We're looking down the tunnel, we know it's going to be iOS for a lot of this, and we can see just how big it is. And honestly, if Apple comes out with that 7-inch iPad this October, and if they even do something to make it an educational edition, like ruggedize it just one little way, I mean, this is going to be like $199. We will fly those up like nobody's business. I mean, actually, we won't. Our kids will all have them, and then they can bring themselves started.
What about having some of your mentors create that scaffolding for the younger?
Mentors, if the mentors create some of the step-by-steps.
Take it off the road. Take it off the road.
Oh, I'm hitting the edit button now, people. Okay, so mentors, maybe one of the things then is that they create the step-by-step. And maybe at this level, maybe it is hardware, software agnostic.
Can you see that?
Because when you get to that level, they're probably, hopefully, will be using their own device. It'll be something they want to do outside the realm of school. They want to use their own cameras, use their own this. A lot of them have it. I know that there's social economic differences in our schools and that we have a digital divide, but possibly that could be something that, so this is where the BYOT could really be. BYOD, is that? Okay, and well, let's chew on this idea. How on earth is all of this going to be managed? I've thought a lot about Edmodo over the last couple of months. Edmodo, I understand, has badges built into it. Do we have someone using Edmodo in here? Okay, can you help me out then?
Well, and you can create your own badge.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yes,
Okay.
you can get digital pictures, you can make your own.
And could I put all these tutorials in Edmodo?
Yes.
And even like a quiz and those kind of things?
Yes.
So Edmodo could manage.
It can manage everything. So you can put it into a library, and then as soon as the student gets it, it's in their library.
And then you can share all this?
Yeah, and their badges are displayed
in class.
Okay, so then they have the badges displayed.
Dean, will NBC do the same
And
thing?
you can put any kind of file in it.
Okay, so, and they can also turn their work in this way. They could turn in an MP3 through Edmodo. They could turn in a video file, photos, anything that they might be working on.
Dean,
Okay, so
NBC will do the same?
So Edmodo might be the solution to all of this, and since
They'll do bad because management aspect of it.
Is it able to follow them throughout
That's what, if you don't take them ribbon out of your group, yeah, they have access to it.
So I'm thinking Edmodo could be it. And now, if I understand correctly, Edmodo is shareable. Like literally, you could take on the podcasting one and then figure it out with rubrics, all that stuff, and then share it with the rest of us. And that would have some great weight to it.
Actually, as teachers, you can create, like, you can create a group for this.
Yes.
And it's called a community. You
Yeah.
create a community, and everybody can contribute to that community and share it.
So let's do that then. Let's do that. Someone who knows Edmodo, can you please make a gamification badges?
They already have one.
Yeah.
There's already a community, a gamification community.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can create, yeah, I mean, and there's a badge community where people just go in and there's tons of
Now this
badges
is new
you
then?
can-
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Yes.
The other thing to look at for the geeks in the room is Mozilla's doing open badges, and it's in its infancy, but it's growing, and they're looking at taking it once the kids are gone beyond Edmodo. How is that information portable? How do they, have their electronic portfolio follow them out of the?
I attended their session at ISTE, and it is amazing what they're going to do with this. If you understand the future of badges, employers are going to be looking for this. And they have already got companies that look for it because universities can't keep up. Universities just cannot bring in the things in these high-tech things like tech animation and these type of things fast enough for the industry that needs them. So they've resorted now to badges. So these kids are now passing off they prove their
Skills.
competency. Yeah. Who said that one? You prove it's competency based. So you prove your competency. It now goes on their Facebook. It goes on their resumes. Everything else like that. Like I know how to use poser animation and these type of things at whatever level that is. Poser 6.2 or something. That goes on there. Employers look for that, and employers are hiring from that. And at this conference at ISTE, they actually mentioned off a list of employers now that recognize the Mozilla Badge Project. And so this is what this is coming into. They're not down into the elementary level. That's why I've kind of started to see how this goes, because it's all about digital badges for them, where I was wanting physical. But now that I know Edmodo can do it, there can also be a digital place where they can marry together. And that's, I think, my last one here is about how does it work with middle and high schools. It should be something carried on, because my kids do get a little rundown because they go off to middle school, and they're like, oh, we don't let you into TV production until 8th grade. They've been running a show for 3 years. My little producer, Rachel, been running the show in my school for 3 years, shows up as a 6th grader, and she's told, no, you can't be in the studio until 8th grade. We only allow 8th graders in our studio. She's like, would you like to see my portfolio? You want me to see me and Jeff Corwin over here? He's a bit of a diva, but should have seen my little Rachel put him in his place. But Jeff wanted to edit the questions that Rachel was going to ask him, and she took on the journalism side of it and just said no. She said, have you ever been hurt by an animal? And the guy from Animal Planet stepped in and said, you can't ask that question. She goes, I can ask any question I want. And Jeff looks over at her and he says, no, I want to ask the question. She's like, well, then I think we're done. Yeah, she's a good kid. And they asked us, they called us in. I mean, so we were there on their invitation, and we, I think, offended them. So let's go back to some management ideas. So how do we not turn this into a management nightmare for teachers? I think having rubrics in place, having, I don't like the word standards, but something in there that we're all kind of going in the same direction. So a podcasting badge in my school is going to mean the same basic thing as a podcasting badge from your school. It's recognizable when they go off to middle school. They're like, oh, we know this person knows how to use audio editing, how to record at the proper levels and not have, like we've heard those ones before, too quiet or too soft, those type of things. So ideas on managing a badge project like this that doesn't just become another nightmare.
I think Edmodo is a really good idea, and I think it would be by topic, not by class. So your class would not be grade 1, blah, 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 and then you have all these things underneath it. You would have keyboarding, or maybe you'd have it by levels, and you'd have it by apprentice, and then the things underneath it. And then, I can't remember what you said.
And I don't want it age-based either. I do want to, if a 3rd grader wants to take on I mean, I know there has to be limiting just from what kids can handle with using technology and things like that. I really am thinking in my school I will start the badge program in 3rd grade. I don't think kindergartners are going to have that much interest in earning a badge. They would really, but maybe I don't.
Hey, Moto just announced on Twitter they're looking for new people to come on. There you go. Take your badges with you.
Can you inform me? No. Okay. Yes.
So when you're giving out the badges, is it based on their expertise with that skill? You know, apprentice might be keyboarding. They can,
Well, keyboarding are required, so I'm not giving any badges for required. So let's go back to podcasting.
Okay, like for podcasting. So, okay, well, they know how to record their voice. But then do they know how to edit? Then do they know how to...
Well, I think that would be for the novice levels. You should know how to basically make a podcast from beginning to end.
So it is...
Record it, edit it, upload it to iTunes, or upload it to our podcasting server that we have that's connected to iTunes. Those type of things. But I think for the next level, the apprentice level, then they've now added their own flavor to it. Yeah, and that's what we're trying to.
Not by completion of project.
Well, the novice
I
is
understand
kind of
your
by
question.
completion
Well,
of
if
project.
it's a project, and it's step by step, and they finish it, and they do it at a low, quality, that someone else finishes it at an advanced quality. There are levels.
Yeah, you would have to have some type of a rubric in place that they can't just turn in garbage work and expect to have the level passed off. Because in gamification, you can't, if you do the level poorly, you just don't go on to the next level. I mean, I've given up on Angry Birds like 30 times in my life, saying never am I going to do it again because I just can't get past the level. It doesn't let you move on. And I think as a teacher, we've got to be able to push it back to the child and say, this is just not ready. This is not, the audio quality is not good enough, or the video quality, or whatever it might be. We've got to be able to push it back. But how do we, as a group, agree to these standards so that it is something that's held at value? And that's what Mozilla is really fighting with too. How do we say that the badge has weight to it, that student realizes this is something good? And if that student transfers from school to school, from state to state, there's actually something really that holds it up.
Well, I'm more middle school, high school oriented than elementary, so I can see where this is building, but here in Kansas, we have our vocational CTEs, courses and pathways, and they're all wanting us to end with a certification. Well, Certiport, which is a company, puts out different certifications for different technology apparatuses. Why couldn't you start at the top and see what their requirements are and take it all the way back? So when those kids go into the high school level, because I think the first time you can take it, it has an age limit on it, maybe 12, 14, I can't remember, is that you're fulfilling their need to be able to, so you can hand them that certificate to show to the manufacturer or to the company, saying, I have passed Certiport's certification badge. And it, so you may want to work backwards, but yet work forward to meet in the middle, so at the end result, your high school students not only will have the badges that they've worked on clear through, but they could take that test, maybe their freshman year, and go out and get a part-time or full-time job with that certification, rather than having to wait till their senior year to walk out the door with it.
That's what I would really hope.
And there may be other companies, but that just happened to be the one that the state paid for. We also have the work keys.
Well, I think with the Open Badge Project, Mozilla, that will be the umbrella that everything will go underneath. So I think there will be some type of certification to your program to say, yeah, we are now accepting it under our umbrella. So hopefully there'll be something like that in there. But go ahead, sorry.
Just think I've been writing rubrics for my K2 kids where we've got the exceeds expectations, we call them wow, and getting closer kind of things. What if the badge fell in that wow column?
I think it would have to. It has to be exceptional
But
work.
could even that be part of the rubric? Here's the badge, and in order for you to get the
So maybe
badge,
some of this
you're gonna
legwork's
have to
already
get the
done.
wow.
Yeah, so if you've already got rubrics in place, now you're just really adding the badge project to that 4th or 5th column that you have in your rubric.
Which is the motivator to get them to go there.
Yeah, because I think we said before, we don't want gold stars for everyone, but we also don't want it so exclusive or so hard that kids can't get it. But how I've been working with my principal when I finally shared this with her, you know, at the end of the year, like, by the way, I've been working every Monday on this. She's like, why are kids running around with badges and things like that? But she says, oh, let's make it part of our assemblies that then we can give this out. And she goes, how long would this take? I'm like, well, there'll be some instances where we'll be handing out a lot of badges, maybe, possibly, because we do it every quarter. So I can see that could be doing something. But she agreed that it has to be something authentic. So suddenly, you know, these are the students that have earned the podcasting badge for quarter one at Bethany Elementary, and then she reads off the 12 or 13 names that might be in that. And they all, like at a scout thing that we come to, they get their merit badges from. So hopefully there could be something really with that.
I think for younger kids, they're gonna want it sooner than the once a quarter assembly. I'd let the principal call those kids and let them stand. If during this quarter they've earned it, but it's a bigger deal to get it. You shouldn't have to wait as a little kid
I agree
until
with
the quarter
that.
comes to get
Just
the
as you
kid.
said it, I agree.
Could you do like a wall of fame and also stick their, you know, have a designated spot where their picture can go?
I think that would, the attendance that we're talking about, I think you can have that in your classrooms and in the tech room where I'm thinking about it. I want to have something like that in place. It's probably on a website. Is there any thought about maybe them getting stolen?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
and I'll tell you why, because I stole stuff, okay? I hate to say it. I was going to ask you about stolen, because, okay, I went to a camp, right, and you were in the boating badge, and this badge, that badge, and I was always going to the nurse and asking for ice pack. I didn't like any of this, and I don't know, I didn't have one badge, and my cousin had like all these badges, and I took them all, and my aunt called and was like, Susan, take the badges. I'm like, how dare you, I would never do that, da, 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 da. I'm your niece, how dare you accuse me? Because, you know, I really wanted them that bad, so I stole them. Just because it didn't matter to me that I earned them or not. And so I feel like kids want these things in their possession, and that was just me, but I didn't want to bring it up because maybe not everyone's like me.
What I think, the thing about the physical badges is the, and I hate this term, but the braggability of it, that you now wearing it on backpack. But you couldn't really go show anybody these badges,
No, but I
right?
felt so good that I had them.
Okay, so
You get the thievery badge.
let's go with,
Most of them.
yeah, little Sally's gonna come in here. This looks like someone stole my director's badge, which is one of our most loved badges. Okay? This looks like someone stole our director's badge. Well, if someone's wearing that director's badge, kids don't know who the directors are at our school, so they're gonna know that it was stolen by that person, or it gets lost or something like that. That's why I think the digital badge is the backup for it, so you have something in the mode that says you've earned that badge. If it's lost, I think there should just be an easy replacement for it. Like, oh yeah, let me look you up in the book. Oh yeah, you did earn that last year. I remember that. Here's your new director's badge, and it's all done. I think we're okay then. I think kids that steal them, I think there might be a special stealing badge for you.
The Robin Hood badge.
Robin Hood.
Little prison doors across the bed.
So we're going to wrap up here. We only got about 5 more minutes, but so I don't know how this is going to play out. I'm going to bring it more from the beta test to permission from my principal, then to try and grade 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to be spending the next month as my summer vacation as I'm on and off conferences, putting it together. These are things I've just been compiling as I've gone off to ISTE and second airports and stuff. And also the last year of just sitting down with kids at lunchtime once a week to see how they responded to it. But I think there's a really good direction here, and I think we can somehow get connected in a group during Podstock this next 2 days. Let's do that. We're going to go over here, though. We have a couple more comments and questions.
Yeah, I just had a question. Are you concerned about like the externalization of like reward spaces? Maybe not at the lower school level, but I know I teach middle school, and one thing we're always struggling with is trying to get kids to have those kind of authentic experiences like you showed.
Without turning into elitism.
Yes.
So they're walking around like going,
or unable to be motivated without some form of external.
and you always have your students that doesn't motivate them at all. They're not competitive, they don't care about the badge system. But I think that's the minority. I think we're trying to play the numbers here and try to play with the bigger system here. And I would hope that sometimes with those students, I'm always shocked with the student that becomes something great that I never saw coming. Logan becoming the singer, or some student becoming the animator, who didn't even think they had the patience to do anything. They won't sit still in my class and suddenly they're the animator. I think sometimes there's kids that might be a little more reserved than something you hand in that badge saying, here, you just earned your apprenticeship of animation, and suddenly they might get kids in.
I think that's part of making sure we don't make it everybody gets one. You have to keep it.
Something there. Something there. Going home crying. Yeah. Yeah, this is happening all day. Giving a student an A, B, C, or D are so bad. I mean, we've been doing this kind of stuff for years. It's just a different play on the same show.
Okay, we were gonna talk about I'll set it up for you. We need to know what we want to call it. What it'll have is a little code, a little 4-digit code, and Brad and I'll tweak that code, put it on both of our blogs. I don't know, we'll get them to make some signs, put it up. Some ways everybody can join it, but what do we want to call this group?
Underground.
How about
The underground gamification.
How about just Podstock Underground?
Okay, the underground badge. We got a Podstock.
There's already a group called Educational Gamification. It's already on.
But we want to.
Yeah, but we want our own group.
Yeah, so let's call the Podstock Underground Badge Group. You gotta have those 3 words in this. Podstock Underground Badge.
Yeah.
We're in a game.
All right, last 1 minute. Who's got something to wrap this thing up and say things? Last question. Yes. Multimedia fusion, I think it is. She asked me what I'm going to use instead of video game designs from scratch, and I came across it at ISTE, and I really loved it. And
What's it called?
multimedia fusion, and it's because the games look like real games. I mean, they look, and you can export to iOS, you can export to Flash, you can do a lot of different things. Yeah.
Have you seen Atmosphere?
I've not.
You have to check that out.
Okay.
It's a 3D rendering, game building, but it's more like building a 3D environment versus a game. You can make them into games, but it's free, and it's free.
How do you spell that?
Atmosphere.
Like APP sphere?
Atmosphere. And it's spelled F-I-R.
Turns worksheets into new websites, turns worksheets into
Lesson adventure.
Multimedia.
All right, so we are going to move into some purposeful mingling. Is that what we're doing next?
That's absolutely right.
So I want to thank you very much. I do appreciate what you heard from Brad. Why don't you let me know? So we have